There's a phrase that gets thrown around every January that I've quietly grown to hate: work-life balance. Not because the intention is wrong, but because for most hospitality leaders, it's a standard that was never designed for the job you actually do. And when you measure yourself against something that you were never meant to achieve, the result isn't improvement, it's quiet failure. You feel like you're failing at work because you're stretched thin. You feel like you're failing at home because work keeps pulling you back. And eventually you start to feel like the problem is you. If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Welcome to the Lead Well channel, where we explore the inner world of leadership, well-being, and what it really means to build a business that doesn't break you. My name's Trevor. I've run a multi-award winning restaurant and cocktail bar. I didn't come from hospitality. I built the business in real time, learning as I went, carrying staff livelihoods, finances, standards, and culture all on my shoulders. And for a long time, I believed that if I just worked harder, balanced better, and managed my time more tightly, everything would eventually feel under control. It didn't. Instead, I spent years feeling like I was everywhere and nowhere at once. Let's talk honestly about balance. Balance implies equality, equal time, equal energy, equal attention. And that idea might make sense for some roles, but it doesn't make sense for hospitality leadership. Your days aren't predictable, your workload isn't evenly distributed, your responsibility doesn't switch off because the clock says so. A busy season doesn't care about your calendar. A staff issue doesn't wait for your day off. A service problem doesn't respect your intentions. So when we tell hospitality leaders that balance is the goal, what we're really saying is judge yourself against a standard that ignores the reality of your role. And when you inevitably fall short of that standard, you internalize it as failure. I did. For years, I felt like I was failing my wife because work needed me, failing my team because I wasn't always present, failing myself because I couldn't seem to get everything to line up. Not dramatically, but quietly. A constant background sense that something was always slipping. Sorry for interrupting, but if this is resonating with you in any way, why don't you take my Leadership Load Scorecard? It's a free assessment designed specifically for hospitality leaders who feel like they're carrying more than they should. It gives you clarity on where your pressure is really coming from, which parts of your leadership are holding steady, and which areas are quietly creating unnecessary load. When I came out the other side of the pressure and burnout that I went through, I felt a real responsibility to build something that could help others who might be stuck in that stage. I remember how isolating it felt, how normal it seemed just to carry it all. And I realized that most leaders don't need more motivation, they need clarity. They need to see what's actually creating that weight. That's why I created the Leadership Load Scorecard. It shows you how your operation is really functioning without you overcarrying, and what to adjust first so that your business can grow without costing you yourself. It's completely free. The link's in the description. Now, thanks for listening, and let's get back to the video. Here's the part most people don't say out loud. Balance doesn't reduce pressure for leaders like us. It increases it, because now, on top of running a complex, multi-people driven business, you're also carrying a scoreboard in your head. How many hours did I work? Did I exercise enough? Did I show up properly at home? Did I switch off well enough? And every time the answer is not really, you mark yourself down. The problem isn't that you don't care enough. The problem is that the model assumes leadership is a neat, evenly distributed experience, but it isn't. Hospitality leadership is lumpy. Some weeks demand everything, others give you breathing room. The danger isn't uneven time. The danger is pressure bleeding everywhere. This was the shift for me. I stopped asking, am I balanced? And started asking, where is the pressure sitting? Because what was actually draining me wasn't the hours. It was carrying the business mentally when I wasn't there. Replaying shifts at night, bracing for messages on my days off, never fully switching roles. I could be at home, but not really present. At work, but already exhausted. That's not a time problem. That's a pressure containment problem. And once I saw that, everything changed. I recently read a piece by another consultant who reframed balance as work-life satisfaction, and I agree with the core of it. Satisfaction isn't equal time. It's about feeling good about how you showed up when you were there. You can work long days and still feel okay about your health if you protected something meaningful. You can work late some nights and still feel connected at home if you were genuinely present when it mattered. That reframe is helpful, but for hospitality leaders, I'd take it one step further, because satisfaction alone doesn't address the real issue: pressure. You can be satisfied and still overloaded. You can feel like you showed up and still be the nervous system of the business. So for leaders like us, the real target isn't balance or even satisfaction, it's contained pressure. Let's talk about the 3 areas everyone points to: health, work, relationships. On paper, that makes sense, but in practice for hospitality leaders, these don't exist in separate lanes. They bleed into each other. Work drains your energy, so your health slips. Work follows you home, so relationships get the leftovers. Health drops, so your capacity at work suffers. And because you're competent, you compensate, you push harder, you absorb more. You tell yourself it's just the season until it isn't. So instead of trying to balance these domains, the real work is clean separation, not equal time. Clean transitions. For leaders under load, health isn't about becoming a better version of yourself. It's about protecting your ability to lead. Sleep, movement, nutrition, not as lifestyle goals, but as operational necessities. When your energy degrades, decision quality follows. You become reactive, shorter-tempered, less patient with mistakes, and because hospitality is emotional work, that matters. You don't need perfect routines. You need enough capacity to stay ready. Your job isn't to do everything. Your job is to make good decisions consistently under pressure. But when pressure lives in your body instead of in the system, everything feels urgent. You jump in too fast, you fix instead of build, you carry instead of distribute. And over time, the business starts to rely on your presence instead of its structure. That's not leadership, that's endurance. Relationships don't need more time, they need less residue. And this one was hard for me. I could be physically present at home and still unavailable, still in work mode, still replaying conversations, still thinking 3 steps ahead. The problem wasn't hours, it was residue. Pressure carried from one role onto the next. And until you deliberately mark the transition, that residue follows you everywhere. Here's the quiet fear underneath all of this. If I stop carrying it, it will slip. The standards, the culture, the reputation, and if it slips, it feels personal. So instead of stepping back, you grip it tighter. You become the buffer, the fixer, the one who holds the line. Not because you want control, but because you don't trust the system to hold without you. I've been there. There's a technique I came across called the 3 alarms. On the surface, it sounds motivational, but stripped back, what it actually does is something far more useful. It marks state changes, not aspirational identities, pressure handovers. For hospitality leaders, this matters. 1 alarm before the shift, 1 at the start of leadership mode, and 1 when you're done. Not to tell you who to be, but to tell your nervous system where pressure belongs. Before work, you ground. During work, you lead, and after work, you release. It's not about being perfect. It's about not letting pressure leak everywhere. And this is exactly what my Lead Well framework is designed to do. Look inward isn't therapy. It's recognizing where pressure has fused with identity. Establish rhythm. It isn't productivity. It's containing decisions so they stop living in your head. Aligning your energy isn't self-care. It's leading without running on adrenaline. And directive clarity isn't delegation tips. It's moving responsibility without fear of collapse. And none of this removes responsibility. It redistributes it properly. When this starts working, something subtle but powerful happens. You finish a shift and you don't replay it. You take time off without bracing for impact. Issues still arise, but they don't feel personal. The business holds and you don't have to. And that's the win. Balance isn't the goal, and carrying everything isn't strength. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a subscribe. It helps me, it helps the channel, and it helps people like us find the content that really matters. And as always, I'd love to remind you that you matter too. Don't forget that.